contractions? Is it? I don't fucking know. This is the first time doing this. I don't know what this is. Fuck, I'm literally gonna have this baby on the toilet. What the fuck is going on? I know it's big, but come the fuck on. The most incredible, surreal moment in my life, and honestly, I would do it again in a heartbeat. Well, this is a little bit weird, isn't it? I feel like I'm starting a new job. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. If you are new, my name is Vicky, and I, 7 weeks ago today, gave birth for the very first time. And that is what this video is going to be all about. It is going to be my labour and delivery story. So if you want to know how it all went, what went down, then keep watching. So just a quick disclaimer, this, as with any labour and delivery story, it's going to be fairly TMI. So if you don't want to listen to any of that stuff, then click out of this video. But if you don't mind, let's get cracking. So in the earlier hours of Saturday, the 16th of January 2021, I was awoken to the need to go to the toilet. And this is not abnormal in pregnancy, full stop, let alone at this point. I was 30 weeks and 2 days for reference at this point, and I didn't just need a wee. I did need a wee, but I didn't just need a wee. I'll put it that way. So I went to the toilet, and safe to say, things were a little different. It was either, well, I had in my head that it was either one or two things was going on. One, labour's fucking starting, or two, I'm not very well. So after I went to the toilet, I crept back to bed. Like I said, it was around 3 AM, so I was quite conscious of waking Joe up. So I crept back into bed and kind of just laid there for a bit, and I had this really weird feeling, like quite low down, like lower than my kind of, like lower than where I would normally get period pain. So I thought, well, that's a bit weird, because I always thought, and I'd always kind of heard, that like contractions and early labour pains are generally kind of like period pains, or in that kind of region. So for me, when it was like lower down, it was more towards my bum. So I was just kind of like, okay, well, that's a bit fucking weird, isn't it? So I don't know what's going on, but I can only presume it's something to do with the baby. So she's either moved, or she's getting into position, or something's going on. So I lay there for a little bit longer, probably only about 20 minutes, and I had a few of these pains, and they kind of come and went. So I was kind of like, is this contractions? Is it? I mean, I don't know. This is my first time. I have literally no idea what to expect. So yeah, so I lay there for a little bit, and then I got out my timer on my phone, so my like contraction timer thing. I didn't know if it was actually contractions, but I thought, if it is, I'll time them anyway. So I was doing that, and they were kind of coming every 5 minutes or so, and I thought, okay, that's a bit weird. Usually, like, if you're in labour, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but usually you kind of get the feelings quite early on, and it progresses, and it gets like to a shorter period of time like that. But no, it was rapid. So at this point, I kind of felt like I needed the loo again. So I went to the loo. It was kind of the same kind of dealio as the last time. And then I went back to bed again. So I tried to try to sleep, but I knew I couldn't, because I was anticipating what was happening. So I was kind of just timing these weird pains. And like I say, they were around 5 minutes apart at this point. And they weren't like particularly painful, but it was a bit like a, oh, that's not very nice kind of thing. And again, for reference, I have suspected endometriosis. So I've never had a I can't say that word. I'll put it on the screen. I've never had one of those, but all of my symptoms and scans kind of point towards that. And one of the main symptoms is that I get quite painful bowel movements and things around and during my period. So it was kind of like that pain. So if you know what I mean, then you're kind of on the same page. So yeah, so it was kind of like that. So I was trying to just lay there, time these weird pains just in case it was anything. And then it just kind of got to the point, I was obviously still awake, I was on my phone and things, so Joe kind of woke up and he looked at me and he was like, are you okay? And I was like, I don't really know, I think something might be happening. And he instantly, like, he was like, do I need to do something? Shall I go and have a shower? And I was like, whoa, Nelly, like, it's gonna be hours, just calm your tits. Go back to sleep, I'll let you know if anything happens. And again, I was almost anticipating, and I know it's not always the case, but I was anticipating like my water's breaking or being in quite a lot of pain and things like that. But there wasn't really any of that, and my waters didn't break. So I was kind of like, just kind of sitting it out really, just kind of waiting. And then eventually, it was probably around 4 o'clock-ish, so it'd been about an hour. And again, I needed the toilet, so I went to the toilet and I had my bloody show. So I was like, right, it is definitely happening. Something is going on, whether that's a baby coming out or what. Something down there is going on. So at that point, Joe got out of bed, went and had a shower, just in case obviously we were going to go into hospital, so he was all like fresh and stuff. And we started kind of gathering up my bits just so we were kind of ready to go should, you know, anything happen. So again, probably around 20 minutes later, I was obviously still continuing to time these pains at this point. I'd taken paracetamol as well, kind of more or less when it first started, and I got like a heat pack thing and I put that kind of on my pelvis. And yeah, so I was timing all these pains while Joe was having a shower and stuff and kind of just getting my bits together, and they started to get a little bit more painful, and they were fairly close together at this point, probably 3 or 4 minutes apart. And I was like, okay, this is a lot. This is all happening rather quickly. I mean, I'd always been of the knowledge that was like imminent labour, you know, if your contractions are that close, but I'd only just started having these pains, so I was really, really confused. So when Joe got out of the shower and stuff and got ready, I said to him, I was like, you're gonna have to phone the MAU, so the midwifery assessment unit, at the hospital that I was due to give birth at, because there's no way I can phone them at this point, because when I had a contraction, I couldn't really talk. I could just about, but it was starting to get a little bit more painful at this point. So I was like, right, you're gonna have to phone them for me, put them on speaker, I'll tell you, you know, I'll answer the questions kind of thing, or as best I can, I'll answer the questions. So that's what he did, and they were obviously asking how far apart they were, what the gestation was, or this, that and the other. And they said because of how close they were and how far away we are from the hospital, we're about, well, given that time of day, we're probably about half an hour away, but on a good day, 45 minutes. So they just said, come up, we'll assess you, it's nice and quiet here, and then we'll kind of see what's going on. So we got there, I think it was around between 5 and half 5 in the morning, which was lovely. There was no traffic, no issues parking the car, which was a joy. And went in, and obviously we both had masks on and everything else. We literally just walked straight in, no nothing, just me and my notes, and that was it. Well, me, Joe, and my notes. No bags, no nothing, just went in. So I went in, said obviously we'd just been on the phone to you, told me to come up and get assessed, blah blah blah. So they just instantly gave me a urine sample pot and said, could you do a sample please? Which, at that point I was like, I can barely fucking sit down, love, no. She was like, well, if you could try, but if not, don't worry. So I did, I went to try, and I couldn't sit down, so it wasn't gonna happen. So at this point, the contractions were probably 2 or 3 minutes apart. and they were getting fairly intense. Again, not insanely painful, but you know, like when you have that pain and it's just like all you can think about. It's almost like when you get a tattoo, if you've ever had like a tattoo or piercing or anything like that. It's painful when you're getting it done, but afterwards or as soon as it stops, it's like nothing. It's like completely normal in that moment. So that's almost what it was like. So I was just kind of waiting for them to kind of, I don't know what they were doing, but they were just having a chat. And then eventually they came along and said, right, we've got a room ready, come on in and we'll like do your ops. So I went in, had my blood pressure taken, temperature, and checked baby's heart rate and things like that. Everything was all fine. And again, contractions were quite rapid at this point. Fortunately, when I went into the room, they did say that I could take my mask off. I know a couple of you guys were wondering what happened with the whole like COVID side of things. So this is my experience at least. So when I went into the room, I could take my mask off. Joe had to keep his on. So that's what we did. Obviously they were like, we can't expect you to wear a mask while you're, you know, clearly in labour. So that was that. Sat on the bed for a bit and they were kind of like feeling my tummy, obviously checked heart rate a couple of times, like during contractions, and in between, just to check obviously baby was okay. And then I just said, I really need the toilet, like I need and she was like, do you think you're gonna make it? And I said, yeah, I think so. It was literally like next door. So I said, yes, but Joe's gonna have to take me because I cannot sit down. So that's what we did. Joe went in with me. He like lowered me down onto the toilet and I just said to him, well, I had a wee. I mean, we've been married for years and together a very long time. We've been through a lot. So that didn't bother me. So I went for a wee and then I just said to him, I was like, hold your ears, because I just didn't want to have liquid shit with him listening. I was like, you can look at me all you like, I don't want you to hear that. Although I'm sure he has before anyway. So yeah, so what I thought was me having diarrhea was not, or what I thought, well, nothing actually came out, but that's what I thought I needed to do, if you know what I mean. You know when you feel like you're gonna fucking shit yourself? That's what it was like. So I was kind of just sat there and I was like ever so slightly bearing down, and then I just had this weird feeling in my stomach. I cannot even explain to you what it was like, but it was almost like, you know when you go over a bump in a car like really fast and there's kind of a bit of air, or like, you know, where the suspension's kind of adjusting when you're coming back over the other side. It was almost like that weird like feeling, or like, you know, when you go over turbulence in a plane. It was almost like that weird kind of feeling in my stomach, and at that point I was like, whoa, and I couldn't shit. So I was like, okay, something is going on and I do not know what it is and I do not like it. So I kind of shouted, or like kind of screamed out like, ah, fuck. And then the student midwife, who was kind of like looking after me, kind of came past the door and she said, are you okay? And I said, well, no, not really. I think were my words. And she said, do you feel like you need to push? And I was just like, I've literally only been here for 20 minutes. I was like, I don't fucking know, this is the first time doing this, I don't know what this is. And then she went and got another midwife, and they kind of opened the door and kind of came in and stuff, and she said, look, Vicky, you're not having this baby on the toilet, get back in the other room and we can like check you out, because at this point I hadn't been checked down there. So I got back onto this like wheelchair thing, although I said to them, I was like, one, I'm sat down now, I cannot stand back up, and then when I am, I'm not going to be able to sit back down on your chair, nor can I move, like walk to the other room. And it was just like this weird thing in my head that I was just like, fuck, I'm literally going to have this baby on the toilet, like you see it on TV and stuff, and I was like, it's going to be me, I'm going to be in the fucking newspaper or something. But no, so they kind of hoiked me back up onto the chair. I kind of just hovered, kind of like almost with my legs straight, just kind of they were just, it was almost like I was on a skateboard and they just wheeled me back into the room kind of thing, and I was still kind of upright. So that was that. Hoiked me back onto the bed, and at that point one of the midwives said to the student midwife, she was like, get the Entonox. No one had asked me at this point what pain relief that I wanted or what I didn't want or anything like that. I can only assume they'd looked at my birth plan. I had no idea what else was going on. At this point I was just kind of focusing on what the fuck was this weird feeling in my stomach. So yeah, so they went and got the gas and air. Needless to say, that was on my birth plan, that I was happy to have it. So yeah, I had the gas and air, instantly kind of just felt a bit better, just a bit more at ease. At this point as well, I was not bleeding a lot, but bleeding. Like when I went to the toilet and stuff. So they obviously just like stripped my bottom half off, obviously when I got on the bed and stuff. And she was like, right, I'm gonna check you now. And I said, oh, okay. And she was like, right, you're 10 centimeters. And I was like, oh, that means go time. Holy fucking shit. 3 hours ago I was asleep and now I'm about to give birth. What the actual fuck is going on right now? Anyway, back to the story. So then they said to me, they said, where are you having this baby? So in the hospital where I went, they've got like the main kind of maternity ward, then they've got like a midwifery led unit upstairs, and I think that's it, like kind of on site. And I had down that I wanted to go to the midwifery led unit, so I wanted to have a pool, and I wanted it just to be midwifery led. I didn't want to be on a labour ward or anything like that. So they said, look, if that's where you want to have her, you will get there, don't you worry. And obviously at that point I was just like having these pains quite quickly, and I was like, no, she's fucking coming. Like I had this like real pressure down there as if she is going to fucking fall out in 5 minutes. It was just weird. If you've given birth, you'll probably know what I mean. So they got the wheelchair thing back again, kind of hovered over it, butt naked on the bottom half, literally only in a bra on my top half as well. No, I wasn't. I think I had a top on. Yeah, I had a bra and a top on. On this wheelchair thing, they put like a white sheet around me, had my Entonox, going through the hospital, going up to the lift. Entonox detached itself and I was just there with this bit of plastic, like, okay, great. And then they like reattached it when we were in the lift. So got upstairs, could hear the pool running, and I was like, okay, we're good, we're good. Went into this room. It was still fairly dark outside, so the room was nice. It was like dimly lit, which was amazing. I had down that I was kind of wanting to do hypnobirthing loosely, but that's kind of what my preference was. So I don't know if it was along those kind of reasons why the room was like that, or whether that's just because that's just how they did it. So anyway, went in, got on this, like, it was almost like a bed, but not like a proper hospital bed or anything. So I got on that, straight on all fours, stripped everything off, literally down to my bra. I don't know why I even kept my bra on at this point, but I took everything off. I remember I literally still had my socks on, so I had to take my top off when I got in the room. And I said to Joe, I was like, I can't bend down to get my socks off. Can you take my socks off? And stupidly, when we were getting ready to leave for the hospital, I said to him, I was like, can you get me some socks out, please? And he got me a pair of white socks. White fucking socks. Who does that? Anyway, I said to him, can you take my socks off because I can't do it? So he did that, and I got on all fours on the bed, could hear the pool running. I was like, right, life is good. I'm where I want to be, regardless of whether I end up getting in the pool or not at this point. I'm in a nice, relaxed room. So that was that. I was kind of continuing the contractions with the gas and air, and everything else. Everything was fine. And obviously they kept asking, well, yeah, they kept asking, do you feel the need to push? And I kept saying, well, yeah, I think so. Obviously I don't know, but I think so. And at no point did they say to me, go, like, you know, do that then. They just said, oh, just listen to your body, blah, blah, blah. I didn't know that that meant, okay, push then. So I was just kind of there, breathing it out, kind of just plodding along, which, with the gas in air, like fuck, was a lot more bearable. It was, I could barely feel anything. It just got to the point where I was just completely out of body. It was like I was watching myself from a corner going through this experience. It was just so weird. Nice. So fucking weird. So yeah, I was kind of breathing through these contractions, and then eventually the midwives realised that the plug wasn't in the bath. And I was wondering when all I could hear was this pool running, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? I know it's big, but come the fuck on. Like, I want to just get in there and get this fucking baby out. So that was probably maybe around 7 AM. So I was just kind of waiting it out, or somewhere between 7 and 7:30. And then, yeah, around probably 7:30, I'd got in the pool, or thereabouts. I'd got into the pool, which was so nice. They took the gas and air off me in the end because they were like, right, okay, you need to really concentrate now. And then I was starting to push when I was in the pool. So wasn't really there for very long doing that. And then at 8:02, my little girl was born, and holy fucking shit, that is the weirdest feeling in the bloody world. The only kind of pain that I personally felt when she actually came out, I know again a lot of people wonder, the only pain that I actually felt was quite high up, and it was almost just like a stinging, like when you have a water infection. You know, when you go to the toilet when you've got a water infection, that's quite stingy. It was just like that the whole time, like her head was coming out. And once her head was out, it was like one push and they kind of pulled her around, which was a relief. And then they literally handed her straight to me, which was amazing. It was just the most incredible, surreal moment in my life. And honestly, I would do it again in a heartbeat. I really would. I had the most positive experience, and I am fully aware that not everyone is that lucky for one reason or another, but oh my god, it was just incredible. And that is one of the reasons why I wanted to obviously share this story. I know a lot of people do watch these videos even if they're not even pregnant. I know I did, just out of pure curiosity to see what happened. But yeah, I had a super positive experience. It was amazing. It really was. And she was just amazing. She was really quiet. She didn't cry straight away, which obviously worried me, but she was just kind of looking at me, blinking, like dazed, what the fuck is going on? And it was just, yeah, it was so surreal. And then they just asked me if I wanted to birth the placenta naturally or have the injection to kind of speed things along. So I opted for the injection just to kind of make things a little bit easier. So yeah, so I went with delayed cord clamping. That is something that I wanted to do from the get-go, and it is something that I think my hospital at least kind of try and do anyway, as long as there's no risk to obviously baby or mum. They try and do delayed cord clamping anyway. So obviously she was still attached to me. I was carrying her, and I got her out of the pool, or got us out of the pool, and then got back onto the bed and kind of just obviously did skin to skin while the blood was obviously flowing back to her. And then once my placenta came away and obviously it got cut and everything else, it was just, yeah, I'll insert a picture here. Yeah, it was just incredible. I am absolutely in awe of my body and every other woman's. It is just such an incredible thing to do. It honestly was not what I anticipated it to be at all, and that is the one thing that I will say to everybody. Do not ever go with any expectations of anything, regardless of what I tell you or anyone else tells you. Don't expect anything, because it'll probably either not happen or just, you know, go completely to pot, or completely the other way. It will just be incredible when you think it's really not going to be. I was so scared that I was going to tear, it was going to be super painful, it was going to just be horrific, I was going to have an emergency section or something. And although it is good to, you know, be mindful of what could happen, just so that it's not a massive shock if it does, it's also probably not the best idea to be like literally concerning yourself every minute of every day with those kind of things, because more often than not those things don't happen. It is just, you know, mainly those kind of things happen when you are pent up and, you know, not relaxed enough. I know that the midwife even said to me when she checked me over afterwards, she was like, "Is this your first?" And I said, "Yeah." And she was like, "Oh, I would have thought you'd done it before." One, by the labour and how calm I was, which I don't really understand how I was, must have been the gas in there, or how I looked down there. So quite chuffed with that. But yeah, I hope you have enjoyed this video. Sorry it's been a bit of a rambly shit show, such is life. But yeah, hopefully I will be back to making videos very soon. I have a 7-week-old baby. I cannot even function most of the time. So yeah, filming videos has not been the top of my priority list, but I wanted to make a video so bad, especially this one. So hopefully I can get this edited and uploaded fairly quickly, and I hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Like I say, I will be uploading quite a lot more kind of videos in the near future. I will be doing kind of mummy videos, vlogs, hauls, all of that kind of fun stuff. And yeah, I hope you're all doing really well, and I will speak to you all very soon. Bye guys.